these bones live. You see they're dry. You see there's no marrow in the bone. You see they're scattered all over the valley. They ain't even full skeletons. I mean, the bones are scattered all over the valley. They're just bones. But answer me a question, Ezekiel. Can these bones live? Ezekiel answers the only way he knows how to answer. Lord, you know. Critical race theory was born out of critical legal theory. Am I teaching y'all something today? There emerged two common beliefs linking all critical race theories. First, white supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's just a fact. How in the world are you going to fight against that being taught in any school? White supremacy has subordinated black people and other people of color. That's a fact. Why don't you want that to be taught in school? You let your schools teach us that Columbus discovered America. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that George Washington couldn't tell a lie. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that some slave owners were beneficent and good slave owners. There were no good slave owners. Anybody who owned people was evil. That's a lie. You let your schools teach us that Abraham Lincoln was good for Negroes. No, Abraham Lincoln was trying to save the Union. And Abe Lincoln himself said if he could save the Union and keep black people in chains, he would do it. That's a lie. Come on, somebody. You let them teach us about a white Jesus. You let them teach us that Native Americans were the aggressors. Come on, somebody. That white folk had a manifest destiny and that the Pilgrims were good at Native Americans. That's a lie. All day, every day, you let them teach us lies. All throughout my history in school, I was taught lies. But you got a problem with critical race theory because it teaches the truth that white supremacy has subordinated black people and people of color. The right to bear arms. Let me just back up a little bit and let me take you on back to the late 1960s when Ronald Reagan was the governor of California. And they were oppressing black folk, and a group of men and women known as the Black Panther Party decided that they were going to defend the rights of black folk. And the Black Panthers decided that the Second Amendment wasn't just for white folk. So they strapped themselves with guns and showed up at the Capitol in California. And when they saw them Negroes with guns, come on, somebody. That's why I say if you ever really want to get gun laws changed, just strap all these Negroes up. They'll change them laws before the week is over. When the Black Panthers, watch this, I want you to read, the California legislator passed what was called the Mulford Act. It was a gun control act that decided who could get guns, who couldn't get guns, what could be in your background, what couldn't be in your background. It was the first time in history that the National Rifle Association, the NRA, supported restrictive gun legislation, all because black folk had the nerve to get strapped. Look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, go get strapped. Amen, somebody. Y'all gonna say Bishop told us to get strapped. I said it. Go get strapped. It just got real quiet up in here. But y'all already know I'm a triple P. Amen. Y'all know what a triple P is, right? A pistol packing preacher. Amen, somebody. Morning, good morning, welcome. I got to get all my other stuff up. Got to get all my other stuff up here. Got to get my Instagram on. 10, the gram is on. Good morning to the gram. Good morning to YouTube. I need to get the Twitter space popping. See if I can get that popping. All right. There we go. Twitter space is popping now. If you're looking for the music, you got to go to TuneIn Radio or iHeartRadio or WTCC FM. You know, I do jazz on the Black Love Experience, and so Facebook shuts the stream off. So rather than risk that, I keep it quiet until I can play some music that they ain't gonna mess with. You know, it's the nature of the beast. Do me a favor, like, share, subscribe. Tell somebody Bishop is on the air right now. Let's get it. Good morning, good morning, good morning. I see y'all. I see y'all. I see. Got Sentimental Mood playing. John Coltrane. I wasn't here Monday, but I'm here today, y'all. So we're going to deal with this whole Shannon, Sharpe, and Smith, black men caping for white supremacy. So do me a favor, like, share, subscribe, do all that stuff. Let somebody know Bishop is on the air right now. And while you're doing that, I need you to rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you're chiming in from. It was my birthday 2 days ago. It's been a rough couple of days, even though my birthday came. But that's life. Life sometimes comes and gives you a gut punch. And I've had a couple of gut punches this week, a few. So y'all pray for your boy. Yep, pray for your boy. A lot of time people think those of us with a strong persona are made of steel, like we're not human, but we are human. We have the same feelings and concerns, and we go through the same stuff as all of y'all. Thank you for the happy birthday shout outs. Appreciate y'all. Get you some music therapy. Yeah. I need something. I'm telling you, man. It's been a rough couple of days. A rough couple of days. Birthday and all. It's been a rough couple of days. So y'all send some positive energy your boy's way. Come on, come on, come on, come on, yeah. Let's get it, y'all. The essence of life is growth, but the essence of growth is change. The being in the road would be the end of the road. 90.7 WTCC. Good morning and welcome to the Black Love Experience. I'm your host, Bishop Talbert Swan II. It is Friday morning, TGIF. Thank God it's Friday. I want to thank Minister Rick Robb for bringing us up until the 9 o'clock hour with good gospel music. You can hear Minister Rick Robb and Deacon Ernie Johnson every Friday morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m., bringing you the best in gospel music. And I wasn't with you on Monday on the spoken word, but I'm here today. So, let's make up for lost time. It's my birthday week. My birthday was Wednesday. And, well, it hasn't been all that I would like for it to have been. It's actually been a rough couple of days, y'all. So y'all pray for your boy. You know, life sets in and happens for all of us. And sometimes people think those of us that have a strong demeanor and present ourselves in a particular way, like we're Teflon and we don't go through life like everyone else. Yeah, we do. We do. We may not show it as much as everybody else, but those times hit all of us. So y'all send some positive prayers and energy this way. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. Couple of things have been happening. Protests all over the nation on college campuses um, about the situation in Israel, the genocide of Palestinians. And police have been cracking down and arresting and tear gassing and shooting rubber bullets at and brutalizing students on campuses across the nation, notably University of Southern California, Columbia University, Harvard, um, you name it, it's happening. Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, has been chiming in on what's happening on America's college campuses and basically calling these students for their peaceful protests terrorists and thugs and Nazis and all of that, comparing it to the 1930s. Amazing. It's amazing that a war criminal and a butcher like Benji Netanyahu, with the blood of 40,000 Palestinians on his hands, would have the audacity to condemn anyone else for anything else. And of course, America, as if he's the president, taking orders from Benji Netanyahu, cracking down on people on college campuses, calling it anti-Semitic. And the thing that is amazing about all of this is This is America, right? Freedom of speech. Isn't all that part? Isn't the freedom of assembly and the freedom of speech all part of the First Amendment? At least I thought it was. Yet somehow, some way, when it comes to protesting for the rights of Black people, Palestinian people, and other non-white people, the freedom of speech doesn't seem to apply. People can't take a knee. People can't peacefully protest that all of a sudden but somehow when armed white militia go to state capitals around the nation, when armed white mobs go to the US Capitol, the police open the door and let them in and take selfies with them. But let students protest against the genocide of Palestinians, and they're there with riot gear on, tear gassing them and shooting rubber bullets at them. Somehow there's a double standard in terms of when freedom of speech, freedom of assembly actually apply. Interesting. Also, we have Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith out here cooning, giving cover to white supremacy, making excuses for racism. Stephen A. Smith making excuses for Donald Trump and comparing him to civil rights icons that were targeted by COINTELPRO, that were targeted by law enforcement to subvert their agenda of the freedom of Black people. He's comparing Donald Trump being on trial for paying hush money to a porn star, to MLK and Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X and the Black Panthers, being targeted by subversive action by J. Edgar Hoover and the FBI. And then you got Shannon Sharpe in his interview with Amanda Seales, basically saying that white kids that do racist things to Black kids, that bully and harass Black children, it's not racism because they're children. Oh boy. Whole lot going on, y'all. 413-736-2781, 413-736-2781. We're going to talk about it. If you're in the Twitter space, put your request in. Do me a favor, rep your city, rep your town. Let me know where you are chiming in from. Here's a response to The Sellout by Rhonda Swan. We'll come back on the other side of this spoken word piece, and we'll chop it up and talk about it. Let's get it.
You say you sold out because what? And your precious white woman is the epitome of class? Are you so blind that you cannot see? That pale girl child ain't got nothing on me. For hundreds of years we have stood by your side, accepted your flaws and allowed you your pride, bore your children and cleaned up your mess, satisfied your lust and always settled for less. We have stayed in the background and allowed you to lead, trusting in your strength and ability to succeed, never getting the praise and credit we deserve, but having the courage, the will, and the nerve, for being the backbone that has kept it together, for you and our children in all kinds of weather. And now suddenly you say we're not good enough for you. We forced you to sell out because of the things we did. Well, where was that white woman when that white man you hate was cracking the whip? In the boardroom, the warehouse, and on the slave ship. She stood by his side and didn't say a word, waiting for her own chance to rule and be heard.
Okay, if y'all can hear me on Instagram, tell me you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me.
Stop the damn bus. because there are a few things I need to remind you about us. Instagram, tell me you can hear me. Creature, God,
okay, that mermaid, I can hear the Instagram feed. Can anyone else on Instagram hear me?
Yellow, red bone, or cocoa brown.
If y'all can hear me, let me know. Okay, thank you. Thank you. It might be your system, that mermaid. Everyone else seems to be able to hear. Thank you. Appreciate y'all. Y'all can hear me on Facebook. Let me know you can hear me. If you can hear me on YouTube, let me know you can hear me. You can hear me in the Twitter space. Let me know you can hear me. Just type in I can hear if y'all can hear. Somebody said they got me paused. Let me know if I'm clear on Facebook, if you can see and hear me.
And you wonder why some of us act as we do? Take a look in the mirror, because the answer is you.
Okay.
It's not enough.
I'm not paused, am I?
Always tried to keep us down. But our own men act as though they love to see us drown. And white women have never invited.
All right. Thank you.
Right struggle. So we're out here alone with a million things we juggle, raising the children that black men leave behind, and dealing with the racism of the daily.
All right, I'm clear.
Damn, it's no wonder
somebody said no. Tony, you said no.
In a world where
you're on Facebook. Other folk. Okay, I'm clear. All right, thank you.
Where are the brothers who understand a black woman's work? Right here. Who will protect and stand by us, for we are the salt of this earth. We birthed you, raised you, and showered you with love.
Okay, thank you, y'all.
We who taught you to love your creator above. Right? We gave you all we had and taught you to be men.
All right, do me a favor. Rep your city, rep your town. Come on. Check in.
Not Bo Derek's kind who rates a perfect 10. And one final word for the sellout to claim to be brothers. When you turn your back on us, you disrespect your mothers. Did you hear that?
Tony Peavy says I'm frozen. Anybody else on Facebook see me as frozen? 90.7 WTCC. Trying to work out some technical kinks with the social media space. And I'm trying to figure out if it's me or if it's the individual person's situation. So if you are in the Facebook space, let me know whether or not someone said I'm frozen. If I'm not frozen, just say you're not frozen, and we can tell whether it's that person's system or if it's Facebook, because Facebook. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. All right, audio and visual is good. That might be you, Tony. Might be your system. Everybody else says I'm all good. Let me see. Where are we in here from? All right, rep your city, rep your town. The field is in the house. New York is in the house. Chicago is in the building. Houston is in the building. Charlotte, North Carolina is in the building. Greenville, South Carolina is in the building. Raleigh, North Carolina is in the building. Carolinas is in here. Appreciate the birthday love. Florida is in here, the whole state, I guess. Orlando is in here. Eastern Florida is up in the building. Where y'all at, YouTube? Where y'all at, Instagram? What part of the nation, what part of the world are we in here from? Holla at your boy. Represent. Columbia, South Carolina. I told you them South Carolinas are in here. Covington, Georgia is in here. The ATL is in the building. Dallas, Texas is in the building. Detroit is in the building. Oakland is in the building. Los Angeles is in here. Connecticut is in here. Let's see. Who else is in the building? Quebec is in the building. I'm scrolling through, y'all telling me you can hear me. Another Carolina. I don't know which Carolina. Yeah, I know Stephen A. Smith apologized. We're going to talk about that too. Florida Panhandle is in here. Virginia Beach, Virginia is in here. East Long Meadow is in the building. Another Detroit, Michigan is up in the building. Another Los Angeles is in the building. Now, what does that say? Bastrop, Texas. Bastrop. Okay. All right. 413-736-2781. 413-736-2781 is the number here. So we're gonna get into this Stephen A. Smith and Shannon Sharpe thing, but I want y'all to pay close attention to what's happening on these college campuses. It's real important. It's real important that we pay attention to what is happening, because America talks a good game when it talks about the freedom of speech, when it talks about the freedom of assembly. It doesn't really mean that for everybody. It means you're free to speak when you speak about what we want you to speak about. And you're free to assemble when you assemble about what we agree with what you're assembling for. But as you can see, with the deployment of police officers to college campuses all over the nation, and if you look at the video footage, it's horrendous the way that they are treating these students. And it's not just the police officers that are treating these students a certain way. You have counter protesters that are not college students, that don't go to the colleges, that are on the campuses, counter protesting and abusing the students. One video, if you go to my social media feed, you'll see a white man, a Zionist, bullying and assaulting a young black woman. I almost say young black girl, and I don't mean any disrespect if it comes out like that. It's just she's young enough to be my child. She's younger than my children. And she's protesting, holding a sign, not bothering him or anyone else, and he literally takes her and throws her to the ground. It amazes me how so many men are so tough when it comes to abusing women. I wish that they had on that campus, and that's at the University of Southern California. It's either USC or UCLA, one of those. Let me see which one that is. One of those college campuses that they're on. And I mean, it's crazy. UCLA. So it's at UCLA. So we're calling on the LAPD to arrest this guy. I mean, he's caught right there on video abusing this young lady who's doing nothing but exercising her right to protest on this campus. And for people who don't go to the college, first of all, how they get on campus, why are they there? And then why are they being allowed to abuse the students that are there? I mean, why wasn't he immediately put in handcuffs? I mean, what kind of craziness is this? Where the cops can come abuse students, but then the public can come and do the same thing. That's the same kind of mentality that happened when Kyle Rittenhouse murdered 2 people, where white boys, because this boy was 17 at the time, white boys and men can show up where there's going to be a Black Lives Matter protest or a protesting for the rights of black people with guns, and the cops do nothing. knowing that they're not there for any good reason. And then once they get there, they can harass protesters, even shoot and murder them. Remember when Rittenhouse murdered those two men, he got to go home. 17 years old, without a permit to carry a gun, carrying a gun across state lines illegally, and he got to go home with a pat on the back and a bottle of water from the police and a good job, thanks for helping out. Pay attention to what's happening. Who's calling the shots in terms of law enforcement's response? Is it Joe Biden? Or is it Benjamin Netanyahu? Who's in charge here? Is this the United States of America, or is this the United States of Israel? I'm just trying to figure it out. Because as of right now, I'm confused about it. I'm literally confused as to whether this is the USA or the USI. Which one is it, y'all? 413-736-2781. So let's get to our brothers. Let's get to these brothers. Let's get to Stephen A. and Uncle Shannon. I don't know why. Some of y'all call him. He ain't my uncle. I'm actually older than Shannon Sharpe. So Shannon Sharpe a few years ago started his podcast, Club Shay Shay, and in recent months it's blown up after the interview with Cat Williams broke the internet. And so he's had celebrities, sports figures, you name it, come on the show to do 3-hour interviews. And then, of course, all of the conversations that happen after the interviews. So whether it's Monique, whether it's Steve Harvey, whether it's Kirk Franklin, whether it's Cat Williams, you name it, he's got him on there. So he had Amanda Seales on there, the actress. He talked about a number of things, talked about her having autism. They talked about Hollywood, the Insecure series, Issa Rae, talked about her childhood and racism that she faced, etc. It ran the gamut. What stood out was every time she began to give an experience where she attributed racism to playing a factor, it was like Shannon cringed. It's like he was very uncomfortable talking about how racism played a role in her experience. And really he was very dismissive about how racism played a role. He wanted to attribute it to something other than racism, even though it was her experience that she was sharing. He seemed to be very uncomfortable validating her experiences with racism, even though he's a black man in America. A black man who's nearly 60 years old, who grew up in white supremacist America. He is very reticent to acknowledge the reality of racism in America. Here's a man who was born and grew up in the South. went to an HBCU, Savannah State University, but doesn't want to admit the reality of racism in America. Why is that? Why is that? You know what it reminds me of? I'm going to see if I can find it. It reminds me of that stand-up by Damon Wayans when he talks about how when people get to a certain level and make a certain amount of money, how they don't want to admit that racism exists in America anymore because they don't want to mess up that check. I think that's probably where a Shannon Sharpe and a Stephen A. Smith might be. Let's take a listen to Damon. It's comedy, but there's a lot of truth in comedy as well. Let me see if I can get him on here. Come on here now. All right, now I'm having audio troubles myself. So I'm going to see if I can get it on here. But basically, you know, he's basically saying that people get to a certain socioeconomic status level, and then they don't want to mess up what they got going. And so they're willing to pretend that racism is no longer a problem. And that's problematic in and of itself. So I don't know why I can't play it or why I don't have the sound on it. Let me go to another device and see if I can make it happen. Because it's very poignant. Like I said, it's comical, but it's very poignant. And that's the first thing I thought of when I thought about Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith. Here we go.
You're special.
Here we go.
You're so different. You're not like the others. You start believing that shit until the cops pull you over. You go, well, I was special. Yeah, nigga, just put your head down and keep it. I'll put a special bullet in your ass. That's what happens, man. I see why Richard Pryor is crazy. It just takes away all your rage, you know? That's why he ran around going, oh,
let me get to the
pot. White people want to smooth some shit over, they go get.
Let me get.
Now that you made this $13 million, and we're not counting.
There we go.
Now that you made all this money, let me ask you this. Let me just throw this out at you. You respond any way you want. Is there racism in America? You be sitting there thinking about that paycheck talking about, no, sir. If in there is, I ain't seen none.
And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, that is basically, in my estimation, in my humble opinion, where Shannon Sharpe and Stephen A. Smith are. No, sir. There's no racism. If in there is, I ain't seen it. That I mean, that's where I think they are. That they are in a place where, you know, it's too dangerous for me to talk. And I get it. If you don't want to talk about it, don't talk about it. But please don't dismiss it. Don't sit here and pretend that it's actually not a thing. That is actually not a problem. I mean, really? Seriously? So let me play the interview. Um, Amanda is talking about her experience as a child actor, and she talks about being at Disney, having auditioned for this dance camp, um, and being the only black girl. And she talks about how all the white children basically were telling her, you know, the only reason you're here is because you're black. It's not because you can actually dance. It's not because you're actually talented. It's because you're black. Um, so don't get any ideas. Don't think that you're going to go anywhere. Don't think that, this means anything. She also says um, that they called her the N word. And so she basically was saying that she was experiencing racism during this particular experience at Disney. And she questions Shannon as does this qualify as racism? Because throughout the interview, he's basically been rejecting any notion that she has that something is racist. He's been pushing back that anything is racist. So she's like, does me being called the N word and all this, does that qualify as racism, or is that just kids being kids? And Shannon's answer is, yeah, they kids. They're basically, this ain't racism. This is just an example of children being children. Let's play the clip.
And I was in the situation at Disney. I was there as the only black girl. Okay. And there was a whole crew. It's like 12 of us. And so I was called an N-word right there while I was there. And I was also bullied while I was there because I was told that you're only here because you're black. You can't really dance. You're just here because you're black. So don't get any ideas. So that's what I'm being told by the other children. Does that suffice as racist to you, or would you want to call it something else? Is that just kids being mean?
The kids. So let me ask you a question. As a child, you never said anything derogatory? You was just this model citizen as a child? I mean, children. Now, we're talking children, not functioning adults. Now, if you told me adults, parents were telling you this, or the execs or people that are in charge of Disney are telling you this, I could agree with it.
So you have no problem with the children that were cursing out Ruby Bridges and the Little Rock Nine? Do you think that was just them being kids?
Two things can be true. Kids can be kids and not function as an adult, and things can be wrong. And sometimes when kids say things, they're repeating what they heard their parents say. They don't know it's wrong.
So, yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's Shannon. So Shannon is basically saying, Amanda, these are just kids. So that's not racism. That's just kids being kids. So what, they called you the N-word. You can't call them racist because they're kids. It was wrong, yeah, but they're kids. And it don't have nothing to do with racism, though. He's really saying this. And, I immediately thought of what has happened here with the situation in Southwick with the white kids bullying and harassing black children in Southwick. With Mrs. Lopez's daughter being bullied, called the N-word, with the children doing a mock slave auction, bidding on their black students. And we're talking about, these are 12 and 13-year-old kids. According to Shannon Sharpe's logic, this isn't an example of racism because this is just kids being kids. Like, didn't y'all ever do something wrong when you was kids? I mean, completely dismissing the fact that racism gets passed down from generation to generation, and that those kids grow up to be racist adults. They grow up to be racist police officers who kneel on black men's necks. They grow up to be racist judges who repeal civil rights gains. They grow up to be racist teachers and racist politicians and all of that stuff. But Shannon says you can't call it racism until they get over a certain age, because they don't know it's wrong. Are you kidding me? Children know wrong? What kind of kids did he raise? Children know they're wrong from a very early age. Why do you think kids lie? I didn't take the cookie. Because they knew taking the cookie was wrong. He did it. Why did they lie and blame their brother? Because they knew what they did was wrong. And this man had the audacity to sit up here and say, white kids calling black kids niggers, they don't know it's wrong. White kids telling black kids that they ain't nothing, they just there because they're black, but they ain't qualified to be there. They don't know that that's wrong. Are you kidding me, Shannon? Are you serious? I mean, did you not watch your kids when they were growing up? Did you not watch them try to hide stuff, try to deny stuff, try to, get their way out of stuff because they knew it was wrong? But all of a sudden, white kids don't have the same cognitive functioning as black kids, and they don't know they wrong. I mean, he said that with a straight face. He said that with a straight face. They don't know they're wrong. Really? Really? So when the kid sneaks in through the window or sneaks in late, they don't know they're wrong, right? That's why they're sneaking in instead of just knocking on the door, right? But this is what this man said. They're children. They're not functioning adults. They're children. It can't be racist because they're children. Oh my God. And I'm glad she used the example of Ruby Bridges, Little Rock Nine, So when white kids were jeering at them and trying to block them from coming into the school and assaulting them and all that, they didn't know they was wrong. Oh God. 413-736-2781. And the danger of this is these are men with a bully pulpit. These are men with a big microphone. These are men who literally have a reach to millions. To millions. Shannon's videos are literally reaching millions of people. Okay, millions of views. And this is the message that they're putting out there. They are giving cover to white supremacists. They are providing excuses for white bigots who will then be able to point to them and be, see what Shannon Sharpe said? He said it ain't racism. See what Stephen A. Smith said? He said it ain't racism. You ought to be more like Stephen A. Smith. You ought to be more like Shannon Sharpe. This is the kind of stuff that we get when you got black men with a big microphone. And it's not that they don't know any better. Like I said earlier, it's unfathomable that two black men in their 50s who grew up in America, lived their entire lives in America, who are products of HBCUs, Savannah State University, Winston-Salem State University, that they can both be so illiterate when it comes to the subject of racism. I don't believe that they are. I really believe that their antics are deliberate. They deliberately trivialize, minimize, and dismiss the realities of anti-black racism in America and the lived experiences of black people to give cover to white supremacists. And they keep on doing it. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Bishop Swan.
Good morning. Turn your radio down.
Good morning, Bishop Swan.
Good morning.
It's not that they don't see color. It's just that when you start making a certain amount of money, there's certain things you can say and can't say. So when you get to that status financially, there's a lot of things you're going to pretend you don't see. Thank you.
All right. And I get that. I understand those who don't want to mess up their money. Because I listen, I know the sacrifice of speaking out. I have paid heavily. Opportunity after opportunity has been taken away because people are uncomfortable with the fact that I am bold enough to speak truth to power and to say those uncomfortable things. I get it. And it's not just opportunities that are controlled by white folks, even opportunities that are controlled by black folks, because there are black people in black organizations that don't want to touch a brother like me because I make the block hot. So I get it. I completely understand, how money dries up, opportunities dry up, people try to shy away from you, all of that, job opportunities, contract opportunities, all of that when you speak truth to power. I get it. I've been doing my lecture series for 14 years. And this year I was threatened that funding would be taken away, because of a certain topic and a certain person that I was bringing to town. I get it. I get it. So I get that they want to shy away from certain subjects, and you can do that. Don't talk about it. Shy away from it. But why would you deny her experience? See, there's certain things you don't have to do. You don't have to deny that racism exists. And you don't have to give cover to white supremacy, like Stephen A. Smith giving cover to Donald Trump. I get it. Stephen A. Smith can't get out there and fight the power like me or like certain other folks. He can't be an Al Sharpton. He can't be a Freddie Haynes. He can't be a D.L. Hughley. He can't be, certain other people in terms of what they say. I get that. But he ain't got to go on Fox News with Sean Hannity and give cover to Donald Trump. He don't have to do that. I mean, come on, man. certain things he don't have to do that he does. That's problematic. So I've always understood that there are people who can't risk their livelihood, and I don't blame folks. People got to eat. People got to make a living. You know, everybody, uh, can't live, a certain way. They can't live, on the edge. They can't live with the uncertainty of whether or not the resources is going to come in. They've got to get that check every week. I understand that. But you ain't got to go out of your way and bend over backwards trying to give cover. Trying to deny the lived reality of black people. You don't have to do that. Right? I mean, why did he have to go on Fox News with Sean Hannity? What was the purpose of that? There was none. There was no reason for it. And then when he gets checked on it, he comes back and he gives a non-apology apology. He says, I apologize. Basically, he said, I apologize, but I was still right. I apologize, but y'all misconstrued my words. That's what he said. That's what he said. I'm apologizing, but I ain't wrong. I'm like, so why apologize in the first place? If that's what you really feel, that I wasn't wrong, what are you apologizing for then? Somebody got to help me understand that. Because that's what Stephen A. Smith did. I'm gonna go on and I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna apologize, and just because the block is hot right now because of what I said, so I'm gonna go ahead and apologize. And then immediately after he gave his apology, he says, "But y'all misconstrued my words." And what this man said was basically that Donald Trump, comparing himself to Nelson Mandela and saying that black people, his struggle resonated with black people, was true. And then he referenced our civil rights icons. Let me let you hear, I got to move out the way, but let me let you hear what Stephen A. Smith actually said that he says was misconstrued.
Talking about how black folks, he's hearing that black folks find him relatable because what he's going through is similar to what black Americans have gone through. He wasn't lying. He was telling the truth. When you see the law enforcement, the court system, and everything else being exercised against him, it is something that black folks throughout this nation can relate to with some of our historic, iconic figures. We've seen that happen throughout society. So no matter what race, what ethnicity you may emanate from, we relate to you when you're suffering like that because we know we have. And that's what he articulated.
Okay, so we relate to you when you're suffering. So he likened Donald Trump having to deal with his court case suffering at the hands of a crooked law enforcement system like some of our historic, iconic figures like Malcolm X, Martin Luther King Jr., Marcus Garvey, Angela Davis, Fred Hampton, the Black Panthers. He likened Donald Trump to our historic, iconic figures and then said, we misconstrued his words. We heard what you said, Steve. Good morning, caller.
Bishop, this is what makes me angry about this whole situation. And I have a lot of respect for Stephen A., but this is what bothers me, and this is what they're not getting. If Trump were black, he would have been in jail a long time ago. And if Obama did all that crap that Trump was doing, he would have been locked up. You can't indict a sitting president. They would have passed legislation to indict and put him in the slammer. So how could he feel what we feel and go through what we go through when he ain't never been locked up?
Right. Exactly. Appreciate the call. Yeah, there's no comparison. So you got Trump comparing himself to Nelson Mandela, and somebody told me I went over the top, but I'll say it again. They've compared him to Jesus. I said, well, if they think he's Jesus, crucify him. If they think he's Nelson Mandela, put him in jail for 27 years. Okay. If they want to compare him to all these figures, let him truly go through what they went through. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. Good morning, caller. All right. Let them go through what they actually went through. And Stephen A. Smith was completely out of pocket comparing him to our historic civil rights figures and icons. No, we didn't misconstrue your words, Steve. You were out of pocket, period. If you're looking for a place to worship, check us out at the Spring of Hope Church of God in Christ. We're located at 35 Alden Street, Springfield, Massachusetts. The Brick Church right there at 6 Corners, 11 o'clock a.m. Prayer, praise, and preaching. We're building better tomorrows by changing lives today. Would love to see you in the house. We're continuing to celebrate my 30th pastoral anniversary tonight. The pastor, Jesse Burgess, will be the guest preacher at 7 o'clock p.m. At Spring of Hope. And then there's a celebration banquet at the Sheraton on Sunday at 4 o'clock p.m. Comedian Smallfire will be with us. We're going to have a great time. And then coming up the 14th through the 17th of May, the annual workers meeting of the Vermont Ecclesiastical Jurisdiction of the Church of God in Christ, over which I preside as bishop, is taking place in Bridgeport, Connecticut. So you're welcome to be there. Listen, coming up next, Don Felton with mid-morning jazz and great black music. He's going to make it smooth. He's going to make it personal. So keep it locked right here. Until the next time I talk to you and you talk to me, always remember, God loves you. And so do I. Peace and blessings.
Super. Good. Englewood. Purple rain falling down on the prince of the coast where the sun shines all year round. Purple haze over landscape, still I hydrate in the lunch line. With the smog and clouds, would start me out. This song's in the key of life, and love is in need of more.
How you feel?
Great, my brother. How are you? Good. If black music gets the blood, then my heart has been beating more. Rapidly, happily, I look back on Phoenix, should call her son, paved the way.